The Johnstone Supply Company, Cafferty Group, with offices in Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Colorado, presents Goodman Side Discharge Installation and Commissioning Technical Training Module, TRV 8, Part 3. Installation. For horizontal right and horizontal left installations, the CHPE coil is bidirectional and can be installed in either left or right direction. The CHPE coils are designed for indoor installation only and are installed on the discharge air side of a furnace. They should be installed on the return air side of a modular blower. The coil must be installed with a line set and drain openings to the front of the furnace or modular blower. When installing a gas furnace horizontally, make sure that while laying on its side it is level from bottom to top. However, you want it tilted about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch toward the front of the furnace for flue pipe drainage. The cased coils are shipped from the factory with a stiffening or a shipping bracket attached to the back side of the coil case that must be removed before installation. The bottom duct flange for the supply plenum is shipped unattached. Carefully insert the flange into the bottom rail and use a 5/16 screw to attach it at the middle of the flange. Secure the side flanges with field-supplied 5/16 screws on the supply plenum side. For the duct flange attachments, there are no conversions required to reverse from a right to a left-hand horizontal application. Apply the duct flanges to the discharge side of the unit. If the case coil and the furnace are not the same in depth or width, use a field-supplied transition to the center of the furnace and coil openings. Using the hardware and brackets provided, attach the coil to the furnace and the plenum to the coil. The supplied Z-bracket attachment should be used to attach the coil to a narrower furnace when the furnace is one size smaller than the coil. For example, if the coil is 21 inches wide and the furnace is 17.5 inches wide. If the plenum and the furnace openings are the same size, the filler plates must be removed. Apply field-provided insulation tape along all joining surfaces to prevent the coil from condensating or sweating. Remove the control panel from the right front panel of the cased coil to prevent component wiring damage. Removing the control panel allows the wiring to be safely pushed through the panel wireway. Case coils are shipped containing a nitrogen gas charge under 150 psi. Release the pressure from the gas piping pressure release device or Schrader valve before starting piping work. When brazing the indoor coil, make sure to protect the pipe going into the coil by wrapping it with a wet cloth or heat-absorbing paste. This will protect heat from transferring through the pipe and damaging the sensors on the indoor coil. Always purge dry nitrogen through the refrigerant tubing while brazing to prevent oxidation and scaling from building up on the inside of the tube. Purge lines with approximately 20 psi of nitrogen for about 15 to 30 seconds. Then lower the pressure to 1.5 to 3 psi and maintain a steady purge while brazing. A secondary condensate drain port B is provided for areas where local code requires it. In a blow-through coil application, the drain trap prevents conditioned air from escaping through the condensate drain. The depth of a running trap should be around 1 inch, or a depth that permits unrestricted condensate drainage without excessive air discharge. It is permissible in this application to use a shallow trap design, referred to as a running trap. In a draw-through application, the drain trap prevents air from being drawn back through the drain line during fan operation. This would prevent condensation from draining, and if you're connected to a sewer line, it prevents sewer gases from being drawn into the airstream during blower operation. Additional transformer for the printed circuit board. For adding an additional transformer to a power-cased coil control panel, A transformer is shipped with the EEV coil and will be mounted in the gas furnace and MBVC. The purpose of the transformer is to power the printed circuit board on the EEV coil. The kit includes two brackets that allow the transformer to be installed inside the furnace cabinet. Brackets are labeled A and B. The install instructions that come with the EEV coil show the proper way to mount the transformer. This diagram shows where bracket A is mounted behind the factory installed furnace transformer. The case coil PCB transformer mounts just below that on bracket A. Here's an example of mounting bracket B inside the furnace. You'll notice on the first diagram, bracket B mounted behind the factory installed furnace transformer, and the case coil transformer PCB is mounted next to that on bracket B. Wiring the PCB transformer using furnace power. Use the red and black wires provided in the transformer kit. Connect one end of the red and black wires to the high voltage side of the transformer, common and 120 volts. Connect the other end of the red and black wire to the power source in the furnace high voltage junction box. Communicating furnace PC boards have high voltage accessory terminals that will allow the transformer to be powered from the furnace circuit board if they're not being used by something else. This transformer supplies 24 volts AC to the coil PC boards via the yellow and purple wires in the transformer kit. Do not supply high voltage to the EEV coil circuit board. It will damage that circuit board. Control panel and wiring. On CAPE or CHPE control module is mounted on the outside of the casing and is pre-wired. Verify the plugs and wires are secure on the board before you power the system. Here is an example of the low voltage connections on the CAPE and the CHPE circuit boards. Here's a list of the connections on the control panel. Dip switches. Here is a list of the setting and the function for dip switch number 1 through dip switch number 6. Here's a diagram of where the dip switches are located on the circuit board. If you have any questions or need more information, please contact your local Johnstone Supply Company Cafferty Group office. Please continue to Part 4 of the Goodman Side Discharge Installation and Commissioning Technical Training Module, TRV 8.